Hi everybody, it's Mama Ivy. I will be doing the 40 question witchy tag, which was posted by Derry, and I think somebody else had posted it before then, but I didn't get the name. But anyway, the 40 question witchy tag. The first question is, what kind of witch are you? I don't like to put labels on it. I'm a witch. That's what I am. Doesn't matter what I do. No matter what, I'm a witch. But if I had to put a label on it, I would say I was eclectic. I have taken from different practices, from Norse to Draconic to any of those, and put them into my, I've shaped my own path. How did you discover your path? I think my path has always been there. When I introduced myself and my path so far leading to this point, I talked about when I was 7 and was able to see, hear, so on, spirits. But when I really discovered my path was back in 2010 when I was going through a rough time with an ex-husband. I didn't know what to do. I was jumping between there's no point in believing anything to, well, here's Christianity, but I was also studying other religions at that point just for the sheer love of studying things. And that's when I discovered Wicca, which led me into paganism as a whole, which eventually led me to Asa True, which eventually led me to what I am now, is this eclectic witch. How long have you been practicing? Since 2010. I have done little things here and there as I was learning. Between praying to the gods, meditating, doing small little spells here and there is how I started out, and that was back in 2010. Now the path I'm on now, my real path, my true path, it's only been a few months, but as a whole, it's been 5-6 years that I've been practicing. What tradition do you follow? As I said, if I had to put a label on it, I'm eclectic. So I don't necessarily follow a certain tradition. I was following Asa True, and I do have quite a bit of influence from Asa True still in my practice. But I don't follow that tradition. That's not the only tradition that I look to when I want to do a spell or I want to do a ritual. It's my own thing. Are you solitary or do you have a coven? I'm solitary, but now and then I will join a healing event on Facebook, or I will do a ritual or a spell with my husband if we feel we need to do something together for the family or anything like that. Do you practice divination and what kind? Yes, I do practice divination. I was I was using runes for a while. The runes that I say had for a reason. For a long time, I felt their energy strongly, and I would feel the urge to use them. Over time, that has dwindled. I don't feel that connection like I did. However, my husband has. He's been saying, I keep dreaming about runes. I want to learn about the runes. So what happened was I said, well, I don't think I'm ever going to use these again. I don't feel the connection here. He has the connection that I no longer have. So they are now his runes. In return, he's going to be giving me a tarot deck, which I actually gifted him for his birthday. He's going to gift that to me when we get it back from a friend who was keeping our stuff before we moved into our apartment. I also have an oracle deck that I use called Earth Power. I use it on occasion. I only do readings when I feel the need, when I feel the urge. And when I have the urge, it's a very powerful one. Like, I will drop what I'm doing and go and do a reading. I did the same thing with the runes. So, I guess I would still say that I did the runes. I'm going to be learning tarot, and I do divination through the oracle cards. Do or would you teach with witchcraft to your children? My child is only 8 months old, so currently, no, I don't teach him anything really. He sees me working on my Book of Shadows. He's once in a while sees me doing a ritual or a spell, but I don't really teach him. Will I teach him if he has an interest? Yes. I'm going to be teaching him about what we do, me and my husband. I'm going to be teaching him other faiths as well. I'm going to let him make his own decisions. So I'll teach him about witchcraft, but I won't push it on him. Do you have a patron or matron deity? I have both. My patron is Pan, and my matron is Baba Yaga. My favorite pantheon. I don't really have a favorite pantheon necessarily. But the one I have the most interest in is probably the Norse, because I worked with them for so long thinking that this was my path. I have that connection. So they might not necessarily be my favorite, but they're the ones that I have the most connection and interest in. Favorite goddess? That would be Baba Yaga. Not only because she's my matron, but because she's so misunderstood a lot of times. She has two aspects. The first and most popular, as far as how she's portrayed, is the old hag, the evil witch that rides in her mortar and pestle. And then there's the, again, old woman, but she's not the I'm going to eat children and such type deity. She's the grandmotherly type. She's the very blunt grandmother. She's the grandmother that will tell you like it is, and if you don't like it, well, that's too bad. You're gonna learn to like it. That's why she's my favorite. My favorite god My favorite god would probably be, again, my patron, and that's Pan, because he's wild, he's free, and that is an aspect of myself that I've sort of lost over time that I'm slowly gaining back, so that's why he's my favorite. What is your sun sign? Scorpio. Moon sign is Cancer. Do you have a familiar? Yes, you've seen him in a few videos. I even did just a mini video of him by himself. Merlin, the not so helpful familiar. Thoughts on the afterlife? My thought on the afterlife is, depending on what we believe, that's probably where we're going to end up. A Christian will end up in heaven or hell, depending on their belief. If you're a bad person, where you're going. Somebody who believes in Asatru or Norse paganism believes they're either going to Valhalla, Niflheim, or Folkvanger. For me, personally, I don't believe that there is a place where bad people go, because I believe inherently we're all good. So regardless of the things we've done, I don't think we're going to go to a bad place. We might end up somewhere like maybe a purgatory, or even be a spirit before we end up where we're supposed to go. There's also reincarnation, which I also believe in. Reincarnation happens, and it'll continue to happen until you have learned all the lessons you need to learn. You will continue to reincarnate until you reach your highest level. You have come to be your highest self. Have you had any paranormal experiences? Yes, I'm not going to share them because that would take forever. But I've had some good and some bad experiences with the paranormal. Are you out of the broom closet? How do your friends and family feel about it? I am out of the broom closet. I wear my jewelry proudly. My family, my husband, of course, has no problem with it because he is pagan as well. My blood family, my sister, Christian, is a Christian. She doesn't care. I don't think that she necessarily agrees with it, but she has no problem with me believing what I believe. And we've had discussions about it. She finds it interesting, but again, she might not necessarily like it, but she doesn't say that. She sets that aside. As far as my other blood family, aunts, uncles, cousins, they know because they're on my Facebook. They see my posts. I don't know how they feel about it, whether they like it or they don't or whatever. They don't voice anything about it. What is something that inspires you? What inspires me is when witches as a community can come together without harping on each other. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on the online communities. Facebook, YouTube, even here on YouTube, people harping on each other saying, oh, you're not a real witch because you don't do this, this, this. And then we turn around and say, well, Christians are intolerant of this, this, and this. Christians are intolerant, but then we go on to Facebook and YouTube and we make nasty comments to each other about, oh, you can't be a real witch because you don't do such and such, or you do this and not this. It's a double standard, and quite frankly, it's bullshit. So, what inspires me is when I see communities witches of different ideas and different beliefs coming together as one and not giving crap what necessarily the person next to them believes in. We're all witches no matter what. That's the point. We're all witches no matter what. Some of us are new, some of us have been at it for years, some of us aren't even sure where we're going, but we're getting there. Excuse me. That's what inspires me. Do you have an altar? Yes, and I have a video that I posted previously that shows that altar. What is a spell you have done? I've done quite a few spells. Probably the most recent has been a good fortune spell. And that was months ago before my husband and I ended up in Maine. Because we were so low, we just needed some good luck. We needed it. And so far, it seems to be working finally. Do you have a totem animal, and what is it? I have animal guides, but I have not found my totem animal. Favorite pagan holiday that you celebrate? Samhain. Do you meditate? Yes. Have you gone to a psychic, tarot reading, Reiki master, or a healer? I have gone to a Reiki master, and quite frankly, I need to have another session. I don't know of any Reiki masters here. I myself am also a level 1 Reiki healer. I plan to get my level 2 and eventually become a master myself. What witchy books have influenced you? I wouldn't say any of the books that I have read, whether witchy or otherwise, other religion, has necessarily influenced me. Like I said, I can't even speak today, sorry guys. I am eclectic. I take a little bit from everything. There's not one specific thing that hasn't necessarily inspired me. Favorite witch websites? I haven't really explored a lot of witchy websites, and sorry guys, I have to do a little bit of shameless advertising here. I have to say my favorite is my blog that I work on with someone else called Witches and Witchlings. It's a small blog. We haven't done much because we're both really, really busy, but we're trying to keep it going. But it is my favorite because it's mine. Sorry about the shameless advertising. Favorite witch movie? Practical Magic. Favorite mythological animal? I'd have to say the dragon. And when I say mythological, I have to put it in quotations because whether these exist or not, which I believe they do, or at least at one point did exist, but dragons, I very much am in tune with fire, even though I'm a Scorpio and water is my element. I admire their strength and their wisdom. I actually work with dragons at times in my spell and ritual work, so that is why they're my favorite. Favorite season? Autumn. It's cooler. I love the colors and things that I'm allergic to because I have hay fever. So this time of year, it kills my head. Everything that I'm allergic to is starting to die, so that makes me feel a lot better. Favorite herb, I would have to say, is lavender because of its calming effects. Favorite gem? I have a lot of favorite gems, and I'm not necessarily sure if this qualifies as a gem, but sodalite. It was a favorite and most used by a friend of mine who died back in 2012, 2013, and I've always kind of felt a connection with it. I don't know if it was because of her, but that's why it's my favorite. Rune of your choice. I don't really have a rune of choice. There's not one that is my favorite, but I always, when I was doing readings before, I'd always draw Isa, which has to do with ice and stagnation. I would hope that if I did a reading now, it wouldn't be that, but there it is. Tarot card of your choice. Again, I don't necessarily have a favorite, but there's one that when I had readings done by friends, or if I myself, when I had a tarot deck in the past, do a drawing, the sun always came up. Symbol or sigil of your choice. I don't know much about sigils. I don't use them, and I maybe might once I do more research. But the symbol of my choice would probably be, like I said, I can't talk, guys. I have the spiral goddess on charm with my blue gate. This necklace was made for me. That's probably my favorite symbol. I feel more empowered with it nearby, so that's why it is my choice. Your athame or one you want. I do not use an athame. I don't feel the need to. I don't feel like I have to. Your wand. Again, I don't use a wand. I use my hands. The wand and the athame, tools like that, are tools. You're channeling your energy into a tool, and that's how the tool works. So I don't feel I need that tool to channel that energy. I can channel it directly from my hands. Your cauldron. I don't have a cauldron. I plan to get a cauldron or something similar to a cauldron, hopefully soon, because it's kind of hard to do certain rituals when you don't have one. They're good to burn things in, whether it be herbs or even, let's say, for instance, in my case, I have a letter I wrote to my mother. It is part of a letting go ritual that I am going to be doing. What I'm going to have to do, because I don't have a cauldron, is probably take one of the pots from the kitchen and set the letter on fire and stick it in there with a lid or something, because let's not have a apartment fire. Your Book of Shadows. I use a 3-ring binder. Small binder, but it has a lot in it. Well, it will, because I'm still working on it. I made my cover. I'm not going to show you what's inside because I don't feel like I should. I'm willing to share spells and rituals depending on what it is. So that is my Book of Shadows. Your tarot deck. I don't have a tarot deck, but I do have the Oracle deck, which I forgot to grab off the shelf so that I could show you guys. But it is the Earth Power Oracle deck. You guys can look it up if you want. But that is my Oracle deck. then something witch related you want right now. That is a list several miles long. And I'm not going to name off everything, but probably I'll name the top two things that I would really, 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 really want and need. The first being the cauldron, because again, it's easier to burn things in. The second would be a real mortar and pestle. Right now, what I have is a kind of slightly rounded stone that I found that I can kind of hold. It's got a little indent, it kind of fits my thumb real nice. And then I have like a small pot for planting, like a plant pot, ceramic that I use as a mortar and pestle right now because I don't have the funds and I don't know where to find a mortar and pestle in my town. So, that is the 40 question witchy tag. I apologize that it is so long. This is probably the longest video I've done. Feel free to do a video. Feel free to answer the 40 questions. I hope everyone has a great day and bright blessings.